turning back.
Last Boy Scouts podcast. Danny, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, we've been sick.
Yeah.
We've been sick.
You got that rusty voice. You've got that raspy voice.
Got that Phoebe from Friends, smelly cat, like
Sexy
sultry
Barry
voice.
White.
Yeah.
Ladies, keep your be careful. This is not normal,
Yes.
Tyler, but hopefully he's able to keep it and figure out how to keep that in his life.
In the throat.
Just get tapped a bunch of times. So you got sick.
Yeah, got sick. Literally sent Cozy to school one day after Christmas winter break, and she picked something up.
Pick something up. Yeah, and you ended up starting with the razors in the throat, right?
Yep, razors in the throat, and it's been a solid week.
Yeah,
it's been a solid week, and I haven't talked to anybody recently that hasn't gotten this.
Yeah, I remember, and so like we were just people in the academy come in, and it's at least a 2.5, almost 3 weeks episode, right? Of like when you kind of start to come out of the funk, right? And it's crazy how much it throws you off of your game and throws you out of the loop because you feel like crap, but life doesn't stop.
No.
Right?
No.
And you know that each kid is eventually going to come down with it, right?
I feel the worst for Ben right now. He is the last one to get it.
Oh man.
And I mean, I'm in a way, I think he's feeling like, yes, I didn't get last week of school off, but I got this week off, and he just got his Christmas present delivered. So I'm sure he
he's enjoying it. Okay.
Engineered it a little bit. No, he wouldn't do that, but he's got it, and I feel bad for him because it's miserable. Yeah. Like I spent 2 days in bed, just didn't even get out of bed.
Yeah. I think probably everybody in our audience right now is going through that. And it's funny because, we had all this like, when COVID came around and you got sick and all of a sudden now you end up getting sick and you're like, okay, of course we're going to get sick. Of course you're going to get sick.
Right.
Of course things are going to pass. And that's part of our body becoming where we can fight off those viruses. Yeah. Maybe the fact that we're 2.5, 3 weeks is because we were all wearing masks and not letting our bodies get around viruses and stuff.
Yeah, get acclimated to that kind of stuff too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And what else? What else has happened in the last couple of weeks?
Oh man, the
snow.
Freaking snow. I know. I haven't kept up with it because I've been sick. So I've just been watching it come down, just thinking I'm doomed.
It's so much.
Yeah.
Just a couple weeks ago, I was like telling everybody at work, I was like, oh yeah, I can see my grass and it sucks because my dogs are going out and they're doing their business and now it's going to be covered. And next thing I know, 2 feet of snow in my yard and 4 foot snow drifts and me and Tristan out there shoveling every hour. It seems like, dude.
I tried to keep on top of it. Today I tried to do a little bit extra, but I was digging and I'm just like, there's no end in sight. I've got a drift over here where everything falls off the roof in front of into the driveway. And I'm like, I'm just not getting to the garage until spring, until whenever it decides to melt.
Yeah. Cause you have a long driveway by the studio where the snow falls off the roof and just has a big pile.
This is a huge pile.
It's insane how much we got. And so, I drive down into the valley and drive Parleys, and the last couple of days it's been like traction devices only,
right?
Which I don't have for the car. Wow. So I'm stuck up here, not making it to work because Misty needed the Jeep and Tristan has his truck. And so it's insane how much it throws, even that kind of stuff. Yeah. It just throws the loop into your whole routines and everything that you have going on. Right. And so, we have the snow, we have the sickness, we have just the starting of the year, which kind of feels like it just, you got a bunch of stuff going on that you want to get going.
Carry that momentum into the year and like throughout the year for sure. Like I remember I hit the gym, I made it all of 3 times before this hit, and now I'm like, in a way it's a little bit mentally draining because you're like, I had such good momentum, I had such fire, and now I'm like, I'm hitting the snooze button, I'm trying to rest up. And granted, I know my body needs the rest, right? I know I'll come out of this stronger.
Sure.
Granted, I know I can pick up and start fresh. Like I don't need that new year, right? Like I can do this whenever I decide I want to do it. But you just have such excitement around that time of year. That
it is.
When you hit these obstacles, it just kind of.
And right at the beginning of the year, which kind of throws you into a funk, because I don't know about you, but I'm not a good sick person.
No.
I'm not. I don't want to be around people. I don't want you to talk to me.
Yeah.
I just want to I want to feel better. And I'm thinking, when am I going to feel better? And every day is like not feeling better. I wake up and I'm like, okay, today's the day. Today's the day. Wake up and you're like, oh, I feel like shit today.
Right. So
It didn't change anything.
Yeah, we saunaed last week, and I was okay. Had a little bit of a sniffle.
I remember that.
That night, it walloped me, but then I didn't go out the rest of the week. I started feeling like Jack Nicklaus and The Shining. And then we get the snow, and then there's that scene in The Shining where Jack's frozen, and I'm like, dude, I've just gone from here's Johnny to frozen in the snow.
Yeah. It's such a crazy, it's crazy how that happens to you, you know? And we were, so when you're driving around here, you know, people are, there's a lot of traffic in here. And I think eventually people settle into driving in the snow, but every once in a while you'll see something that you're like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
Why are you driving like that? Like, you shouldn't be driving like that today.
Yeah.
Professor said that on the way up here, a dump truck was just inching over and boom, hits his mirror.
Oh, geez.
And he's like, it jarred him a little bit, you know? And then you're like, those guys, they drive 100 miles an hour sometimes, you know? And I'm like, man, I just want to stay away from them, you know?
Yeah. I mean? Yeah. I started to go down. I dropped Cozy off at school this morning, and I was going to head down to Lehigh, and I'm like, I got to, 189, and I just saw that it like wasn't plowed. It was packed, and I'm just like, nope. Turned the other direction, just came home, and you know, did what I needed to do from home, and it was fine.
Yeah.
You know, it was fine, and I didn't need to add to the problem.
Sure.
But it takes some adjustment. How do you adjust to those obstacles, those things that throw you for a loop?
Yeah, like and the things that change you. That change you get into these habits and these formulations of the routines that you're doing every day, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as it gets thrown into where you're not keeping up with the routine, it feels like you're a little off. Like your body feels a little off. Your mind feels a little off. And the routines can be simple and they can be super complex, right?
Yeah.
And and you just started a new job.
Yeah.
So that adds to, you got to fit that into your schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I mean, whether you have, you know, new kids, new wife, new life, and it adds all these like dynamics to your already existing routine. There's things that you can do, and there's things that you should avoid.
Yeah.
To add into your life, right? That you're like, man, I can't deal with this right now. I can't function with this. Yeah. I can't function with this right now. And I don't know, man. I my routines, I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. No, I definitely thrive in routine a little bit, right? Like I can adjust my roadmap when I need to, but like I definitely feel like I do better as a human being when I have a little bit of routine.
Right.
When I can stick to it.
Yeah. And in the wintertime here, especially in Utah, wherever our listeners are at, but your day feels kind of like short.
Yeah.
Right. And so we haven't gotten very much sun. So like we're not able to go out there and get our sun on our face. So we get into that we get into that hibernation that we go into in January, February, March. You probably hit your hibernation.
Yeah.
If you're not, I'm not a skier.
Yeah.
I don't go out there.
We haven't had any snow to even do it. So it's like the first part of the season is like, it's come and gone. I'm like, this is good now. Like now you can kind of get out.
Yeah. Go out there and enjoy the snow.
But everybody's been waiting for it. So it's,
like packed.
At Sundance this coming up. So it's
so speaking of routines, tripping them, he leaves the house at a certain time to go to wrestling practice to get to his wrestling kids. And I heard some of their interactions because apparently it took an hour and a half for people to get from 40 to the high school because of the traffic, because of the ski people, because of Sundance, which again, I mean, you stick to your routine and it's hard to make adjustments sometimes and you don't realize I probably should have left earlier or man, what are we going to do in Sundance? Because I guess like, I guess for even those kids, Sundance uses the high school.
Yeah.
And so there's no parking and there's no buses available. There's all this stuff, this dynamic that they don't plan for.
You gotta adjust everything.
And so like your routines just get thrown off. And now those kids are like, hey, I'm not going to be there for another 30 minutes. I haven't even moved in traffic. And I was thinking, holy crap. I know how that feels. I know what that feels like. It almost feels like turn around and go home.
Yeah.
Screw it.
Yeah.
Start the day over tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. And so I don't know, man. How do you start your day?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's about waking up. I do a little bit of journaling. I stretch. I'm trying to incorporate a breath work routine. Lately it's been sleeping in. So
hit the snooze button.
Hitting the snooze button. But no, on my ideal routine day, I wake up at 6. I generally will stretch, do a little core workout, trying to work in some calisthenics.
Sure.
I go right. And then I'll meditate or breath work. And then it's shower and get ready for the day.
Yeah.
I got to get the kids up generally by about 7 to get them out the door. And then I'm out the door by 8 o'clock, trying to hit the road down to my corporate gig. So when I have to go down, like I'm wonderfully blessed with a hybrid role. Although right now I'm kind of thriving on the routine of like meeting new people and just kind of getting integrated with the team, understanding the role, understanding the product, and that being on site for that is like super integral in the onboarding process. So that is my ideal.
That'd be your baseline, right?
Like my ideal morning. Yeah.
And then if you miss one of those steps, do you feel like you need to go and redo that step, or do you feel like you're able to move on from it and just and allow yourself allow yourself off the hook for that moment and be like, okay, I didn't get that shit done today?
Yeah. The biggest one is like definitely the meditation or breath work, right? Like I'm trying to move more towards breath work over meditation because I feel like it's more impactful in a shorter amount of time. And what I noticed with my commute, if I miss that, and that's typically what gets cut, I have to go back. I have to go find that time because my commute, not that I have road rage, but like it just happens, right? You get frustrated in your commute and you don't want that following you the rest of the day. You don't want that to be an obstacle that, and so you kind of swallow that pride, you just get to work. And then generally what I'll do is I'll find a room and I'll just do my quick breath work routine.
Yeah, that's how I am with my routine stays the same no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. I wake up. Lately I've kind of been a little bit frustrated with myself because there's things I have to do on my phone right away when I wake up, and there's things that I have to like answer and like make sure I'm available on my phone when I wake up. One is checking the commute, making sure that like the drive is going to be okay for myself if I have to drive that morning. So I wake up and I look at my phone right away and I'm trying to figure out a way to get away from that for that.
Yeah,
but I wake up and then I splash water on my face. I kind of put cold water on my face right away. I do my oils and then I do breath work.
Yeah.
And I do not skip at this point. I don't skip breath work.
Yeah.
Because again, it is balancing and it is centering. And if I get on that drive to put down Parley's with no balance and no centering, I'm probably not going to be a very happy person, right?
Yeah.
And so I've learned that over the last year and some change that I've been doing my routine, and that to me is like it's beneficial for how things go in your initial setup and your initial time. Yeah. And there should be things that you can take out, and there's things like you said that there's just no compromise.
Right.
Don't compromise it.
Right.
Not that. Don't compromise certain things that you're like, hey, I can do this tomorrow. There's things that you need to do every day as a man and as a person that are going to set you up for success. Now you're going to fail. There's going to be things that you're going to fail throughout the day, and usually. Some of my first, like I said, right now I feel like getting on my phone at first thing in the morning is, I don't know if it's a failure yet.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I don't know. It's been happening the last week that I noticed this morning that I was like, man, I don't really want to look at my phone first thing in the morning.
And I'm kind of with you. Like it is one of those things you gravitate to, and it's very easy to be doing something purpose driven, like checking for your commute. And the next thing you know, you're on Instagram. Scrolling. But it's so dark. Like I just find that the blue light just destroys my eyes in the morning. And so I'm with you. Like I've tried to not, like, other than turning off I've even tried to eliminate using my alarm on my phone.
Same.
because I don't want to interact with it. I think the next step for me is like move it to another table.
Right.
So that means I'm not using it before I go to bed.
Sure.
And
at night I'm so good about just turning my phone off at a certain time and then not getting on my phone. Right. But man, first thing in the morning, I'm just kidding. But I don't know yet. I don't know. I was listening to that book, and he was talking about 1 Million Leads. I listened to that book.
Yeah. Alex Hormozi. Yeah.
That book is on repeat for me right now.
Yeah.
And then his delivery and his platform is on repeat for me right now. He's a good dude. Yeah. But he was talking about the first couple of hours of your day should be your job, your work schedule.
Yes.
So that's part of my, we have things that we're working on that like, I'm like, man, I need to get this done today. I need to kind of get this done first thing in the morning because my day
depends on it.
Yeah. And I have a full-time job also.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I'm hoping tomorrow, I'll not look at my phone. I got to work in the morning first thing. And I'm like, I already know I have to look at the commute. Do that kind of stuff. But next thing you know, I'm kind of checking it. And I'm just on habit. Press Instagram, press Facebook, go down a path. And do you feel, I heard this interesting thing the other day that said, maybe you told me that after you do Instagram, there's like almost this dopamine dump where you feel bad about it.
Oh yeah. Like I don't know that I've had anything specific that I said to that effect, but I definitely feel like a little bit of shame, a little bit of guilt, because I know that like there's something so much better I could be doing with my time. I know it. There's no question.
Yeah.
There's something better I could be doing with my time rather than just mindlessly looking at other people, watching other people's lives.
Same. Are you a breakfast person?
I typically will do a protein shake in the morning. One of my fitness goals for the year was to eat my ideal weight in grams of protein.
Oh,
so hitting that breakfast protein, whether it's egg whites or a protein shake, that's generally what I'm trying to do.
Did you feel like when you were sick, you were able to hold yourself to that, or do you feel like you kind of like weren't even able to get like to even focus on that?
Oh man, I'm a huge fan of the there's a cafe latte protein shake that I get.
Oh yeah.
It's like 30 grams of protein, a little bit of caffeine.
Okay.
And I nailed it. Like it's easy because I can, it's a couple of swigs. It's not too painful on the throat. So I was pretty diligent, at least with the protein shake in the morning. But yeah, I don't always eat something solid. I do need to supplement that with something solid, generally a little bit later in the day, but I will most likely wake up, get one of those in me as I do my push-ups and my sit-ups in the morning.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I drink a certain amount of ounces of water, sodium, and we take this immune booster. But I have this. I've been dealing with this stomach thing that I've been trying to get under control. Yeah. So I take these pills and I have to take this GI cleanse and all this stuff, which to me is like crazy because I'm like, am I that old? Am I really that old where I'm like struggling with my diet and struggling with my stomach? And then I'm like, no, you're not old, man. Go show yourself you're not old. But I don't know. I don't know if that is the truth. So I drink like 7-8 ounces of water right when I wake up to make sure that my body is hydrated again. And then I do eat breakfast as quick as I can to get it in my stomach because I don't have a big appetite. I've been trying to be better about eating more. I was doing a bunch of fasting. Yeah. And they told me that might have even been knocking my GI down, my biodome off track, which is crazy to me, dude.
Right? We're such intricate creatures. Like we are so like, we're amazingly resilient, right? Like our bodies can fight off these crazy foreign bodies that we can regenerate all of our cells. Yeah. In a matter of years, like we're literally new people, all of our cells will have regenerated in something like 7 years. Every 7 years, you're
crazy.
Like, every cell in your body is regenerated or something. I don't know how true that is or some fact that I heard, but like such amazing, when we hit these obstacles, we've got to do little things. We got to make little tweaks.
And you have to add those to your routine because then it becomes habit, right? Yeah. And habit, when you form a habit, it's really hard to ignore that habit. Right. I'm sure that's probably, I feel bad for those people that their habit is negativity, right? Mm-hmm. if your habit is to wake up and hit the bottle or look at porn or do something that causes you to head down a negative path, that's the first thing you do in the morning, your day is set up for failure in my eyes, right? But if that's your part of your life, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's guys out there that struggle with that shit right now.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Since I've been sick, I've kind of tapped all the things that I normally would watch. And so I'm like, shamelessly, I picked up Cobra Kai because everybody's like, you look like the guy from Cobra Kai. I'm like, okay, I better watch this show.
And
I'm not proud to admit it. It's fairly cheesy.
I loved it. I loved it.
But the way he would wake up and he hits the Coors in the morning, like it's generally something that's like half spilled out. I'm just like, oh, it just makes my stomach turn.
Yeah. I'm sure there's I'm sure there's been times when I've woke up and I've drank a beer first thing in the morning, right? The hair of the dog type thing. I know that there's times when I've done some negative things as a routine, and all my hope is that I don't make it habit. I've heard that like intravenous drug users, part of their fix is the routine. Is the routine of fixing it, of doing all that stuff, and that's what a lot of what they're addicted to is the routine of it.
Think about a lot of the smokers too. People that smoke. When do they smoke? Yep. After a meal.
After a meal.
Or it is a routine of smoking, right? You have to train yourself to do that. Like, I remember the first time I tried a cigarette, I coughed so bad that I never did it again. And I'm like, you have to train your body to overcome that. Why would I, you know what I mean? And so then you tie it into you kind of, what is the new term that people are using? Habit stack.
Habit stack, yeah.
You habit stack your nicotine addiction.
Yeah.
I could see that with substance abuse.
I think so. Yeah. And the same thing with good routines, good habits lead to good positive things in your life. But if you're not careful, even like good habits can become like where you can't focus on anything else. And now like what happens if your child is sick and you need to like take care of them first, be like, hey man, first thing I gotta do is I gotta take care of myself first. And you're like, you know, as a dad, we're not given a booklet.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's times when we're expected to do things that we're just like, that doesn't get, I want to go sauna. Yeah. I want to go to jiu-jitsu. Yep. I got to do all these things that I want to do. Mm-hmm. And your significant other is like, no. I need you here. Yeah. I need you to be a part of this life. Yep. You know, you're like, no, not today. Yeah. Right. And I think that's where we struggle. If we're not careful, routines can become negative. Right. Yeah. But getting healthy routines, starting your morning off correctly, finish, and then mid-morning, what's your mid-morning routine? What's your afternoon routine? How do you, I'm not a napper, but I know there's some people out there that take an afternoon nap and that sets them up for the next part of their day. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Misty, napper.
She likes the siesta.
And she can sleep in any position, anywhere, at any time, look over, and she's got a little tiny snore going on. And me and Tristan are like, how in the world does she do that? She wakes up and she's good. She's like, okay, good for the day.
A little power nap.
And it's part of her routine.
I guess my question is, and since your kids are a little bit older than mine, how do you enforce good habits with your children? Like your younger children specifically? Like, my son, obviously, what he wanted was a gaming computer. Sure. He just got it. And what I noticed a few days after getting it, we're staying up till 2, 3 in the morning. And I'm like, you know, I don't care how late you stay up, but you have to be getting yourself up for school. Sure. And that is the rule, right? Like if you miss your alarm clock or you don't set an alarm clock or you're not waking yourself up, then I'm going to take the computer. Right. Because that means I've got to exert a little bit of external discipline when you're not being self-disciplined. Right. I give you the opportunity to be self-disciplined, but how did you encourage those habits in your younger children when they were younger?
So with my boys, man, and I've said this 100 times, I am so lucky because cell phones and even gaming systems were pretty. They were out there, and my kids played them. My kids had cell phones, but not to the extent of that the kids in that kind of a life have now. Yeah. But I would wake up with them, and we would do things together. Yeah. So like my kids wrestled, from an early age. So we had 6 a.m. practices.
Yeah.
So I would wake up and Braxton, and then I would get Tristan up at 6 a.m. He would go to practice with us. He would go and get a workout in every morning, all through wrestling. So it's one of those things where we had workout stuff in the garage. So we had Airdyne, which was the Beast. That's what we called it, the Beast. And some mornings you would do a 20-minute Airdyne routine with sweats on, and you'd have to get, because they're cutting weight. And so Tristan, we're talking Tristan's 5-6 years old, not cutting weight, but going out there and doing an Airdyne routine and doing an Airdyne workout. If we went to the high school, he usually there would be another kid his age or his size that was at the high school that he would have to work with. So I set that up, but I did it with him. I didn't sit there and tell them what to do. Like I would do it with them.
Right.
And so I get up for work. I do my routine. I encourage Tristan to do the same thing. He usually gets himself up. Even from an early age, he got himself up. He did his alarm. Braxton, not so much.
Yeah.
I would have to wake Braxton up and wake him up and be like, hey, get out of bed.
Yeah.
And then go upstairs. And I know 15 minutes, get up early, go back downstairs and be like, hey, get up. Because he was, if it was his choice, he wasn't getting up. He would not. But Tristan would already be up, which even at a young age, he would get up, which is kind of like me. And then my wife, she's a snoozer.
Yeah.
She hits the snooze button 12 times. It feels like, dude. And it makes me so mad because I'll hear her alarms go off, and I'm like, well, now I'm up. Yeah. Because an alarm means get up to me.
Yeah.
Are you a snoozer?
I don't mind hitting the snooze button. I think one of the worst things I ever did for myself was invest in a really nice bed. That was my divorce treat to myself. And I'm like, I gotta just love where I sleep, right?
Yeah.
And I might love it a little too much.
That's awesome. Yeah. So to finish answering your question, I think being a part of that, not barking orders, but just encouraging good habits, and then doing the good habits yourself, and showing, hey, I'm gonna get up with you, man. Hey, I'm up as well.
Yeah.
And I'm starting my day just by seeing you. Eventually, I think that they learn to do it on themselves. Yeah. But if you wake them up and you're not careful, then they'll just get used to you doing those things for them. From an early age, my Misty told my boys, you have clean clothes, you take a shower every day, and you do your laundry. She didn't do their laundry when they were younger, so my kids didn't grow up with a mom that they had to do their own laundry. Still to this day, they do their own laundry. Lately, I've been telling Tristan, when you wake up and it's snowing, you shovel that driveway. Yeah. Don't drive over the top of it. Don't drive over the top of it with
Ooh, we got some speed racers outside.
Man, this is snowing out there.
I know.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, don't drive over my snow. Don't drive over my driveway with when there's snow on the ground. Clean it, because Misty drives over there on my driveway,
and then you got to chisel it off.
Oh, it makes me so mad.
It is obnoxious. So I want to recap a little bit and just make sure for my own clarity that I understand, because you mentioned something I think is really beneficial. And this is concept of lead by example.
Right.
I read this book a long time ago. It's one of my absolute favorite books of all time. Nathaniel Fick, One Bullet Away, The Making of a Marine Corps Officer. I stumbled through that. But he talks about his experience first at Dartmouth and then going to the Marine Corps Officer Training Candidate School. And that is, I believe, their motto, Ductus Exemplo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So lead by example.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. I think that's something that we probably don't credit ourselves with needing to do.
Sure.
Right? Leading your children, leading your life. When you have these little people, they're looking to you. So you lead. So you got them up. You encourage them to come with you on your workouts because you were coaching.
Sure.
And then as they moved into their own, they kind of already had that habit, right? And so you brought it with them, and you continue to do it with them as they went on their own journey.
Right.
I think it's interesting too. You give them responsibility.
Yeah.
So the first step, it's this progressive elaboration of external discipline because you're coming with dad.
Right.
So I'm leading by example, exerting a little bit of discipline as a father, saying, "Come with me, get this done. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it." You build that habit that way. you program that reticular activation system inside of your brain.
Yep.
To be attuned to that habit. Then you start giving them their own roles and responsibilities progressively. I'm assuming it wasn't just start with laundry. It was probably take out the trash, do the dishes. Everybody has a night to do the dishes.
Right.
Everybody in my house has a night to do the dishes, and they're on dishes for the day. Right. And then when it's not their day, they just have to simply clear their dish. Right. And so that's something that I've kind of looked at doing, like how do I make up for what I wasn't doing when I was a less conscious parent?
Sure.
Now I've moved into a little bit more consciousness around what am I doing? Right. When we act unconsciously, we're kind of like rudderless. We're kind of shiftless.
Sure. And forcing and guiding is two separate things. You cannot force these young minds, nor can you force our clients. We can't force the people that we're helping. We cannot force them to make changes. We cannot force them. We can lead.
Yes.
We can tell them what we're doing. We can explain to them our routines. We can explain to them the benefits of it.
Right.
But you cannot force them to do anything.
No.
You can guide them and you can encourage good behavior. And, for me, I never really was the kind of parent that took away, I couldn't do it. I didn't take away things. I didn't ground my kids. It was too hard on me.
Yeah.
I didn't like it on myself because then I'm like, now I have to keep track of you, shithead.
Yeah.
Because you're a shithead.
Yeah.
Now you're grounded and now I have to make sure that you don't have your phone and you make sure you're doing your homework. And I'm like, that's not the way that I don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
I also didn't send them to school to if I was like, do your homework at school.
Yeah.
Do your homework at school because I don't want don't come home and ask me how to do your shit.
Yeah.
Because I got through my schoolwork.
Yeah.
If you need help, go to tutoring. Because I'm like, man, your teacher's supposed to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Ask your teacher for help, not me. And my wife would get mad at me because she's like, well, you're supposed to help him. And I'm like, I am helping him. I'm helping him ask for questions.
And be resourceful.
And learn how to ask for it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if I force them to do their homework, they're not doing it. They're not doing shit if I don't ask them, if I force them to do it. But I encourage them.
Yeah.
I encourage good behaviors. And I think that's what, when you're going back and maybe you feel like you failed in certain areas of parenting, let yourself off the hook like we talk about all the time, and then go back and just start being encouraging. Like, hey, this is going to help you. It's not going to change anything if they don't want to. Right. But the last thing you want is for you to go out there and not have tried.
Right.
Not have tried to encourage them. Because even to this day, if I'm doing something, if I expect them to do it, then I do it myself.
Right.
Right. I don't, they tease me all the time because I'm not a good cook, but if Misty needs me to cook, I cook dinner, and sometimes sometimes I nail it. Other times they're like, man, mom should have cooked this, better. But I'm like, hey, it's just me trying to show them the steps that you're supposed to take. Because if I tell you to do something and I'm not doing it myself, it's just like, well, you don't do it.
Yeah, I think, and if I can, for a moment of vulnerability here, I think my mom was pretty good at getting me to do things, right? She had her own ways of getting me to accomplish things. But I think more often than not, and I think this is a trend, I think with probably, I'm willing to bet with a lot of single mothers of sons, that they intervene too often. And so the son becomes dependent.
Sure.
And it almost builds a codependent relationship where the son is too dependent on mom to solve problems. And so we see, like, I had a friend of mine who was, yelling at her son the other night, and I'm just like, and she turns to me and she's like, when is the logic gonna kick in? And I just looked at her and I said, you've got to stop doing shit for him. You got to stop doing shit for him.
Yeah.
Right. He needs to do shit on his own.
Yeah.
If he makes a mess, you clean it. He cleans it up. Right. Stop enabling him, because then you become like the drug dealer that's like, here, you want a taste.
Yeah.
And once they get that taste, it burns into their brain that life is easy and somebody else will come save me.
Yeah. That's funny you say that, because like, part of my routines are to do certain things, like to not leave messes, but my mom and my sisters definitely cleaned up after me and my brother.
Right.
So I didn't have that skill set going into my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first couple of years of my marriage, I was that throw shit off everywhere, leave it everywhere, leave my dishes everywhere, leave trash everywhere. Because I was like, well, Misty will just clean it up,
Somebody will just disappear.
And it's funny you say that because then I would depend on her to clean that stuff up, you know. And I don't know if you did the same thing with Cammie, like if you were like, if it just transparently went from your mom to Cammie, where you kind of depended on her to do things also, and now you're leaning on her to do things.
I'm not going to say that I wasn't, but because I think I was definitely an active participant. But I think what I would notice is that she would get frustrated, like getting the kids to do things that rather than making the kids do them, I started doing them for the kids, right? Like it was just easier for me to rather than to deal with whatever, you know, emotion she was having as she was needing help, to just go do it, to just go help, to snap into help. But then again, I think that was probably also a little bit of dysfunction left over from my mom as well, as my mom would like, you know, fall into disarray. Like I would just snap to and start doing things, right? Like I didn't have the emotional capability to just say, that's her space. Let's create a boundary here. And I just jumped to and started, you know, doing whatever I thought would be helpful, fixing.
Same.
In a sense.
I think looking back on that now that you're saying that, like, my mom's great. She's great, but she did not teach us routines. She did not teach us how to develop routines. I did learn how to do routines from the military, and I went to the military very early in my life.
Yeah.
And you better learn very fast to do that routine, or your life is hell.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, okay, I'm just gonna, like, if they tell me to do it, I'm just gonna do it. And I'm not gonna like ask questions. I'm just gonna figure it out. And it definitely helped me and catapulted me to making routines part of my life, right? And then it was very important for me to instill in my kids routines.
So what, let's back up just a sec, because I want to know, because I definitely didn't learn routines either.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was on me, and I didn't realize it was on me. But the method of teaching routines for me was, you're going to go on a mission.
Right.
But what I learned on a mission is that there's no true consequence for not living the routine.
Yeah.
Right? Like nobody's coming to check on you. There's no, you know.
Yeah. There's no checks and balances.
There's no checks and balances. Where I'm guessing in the military, it was always something I'm like, I wonder how I would have done had I gone that route instead, because I really feel like I wish that was something I would have learned sooner.
Sure.
And taken more accountability. But I'm guessing the way you were taught routines in the military, like there was some consequence.
Oh, for sure. You know, like even fun, you know, that it's dialed down and it's dumbed down so simple.
Right.
The way you talk, the way you speak to them, the way you speak to higher ranking individuals, they tell you exactly how to say it. And as soon as you don't say it that way, then they tune you up. And it's and so like in the Army, that's called smoke. I don't remember what we called it, but that's where you had to do push-ups, to like drop down and do push-ups, and I'll tell you when to stop. And you're like, okay. And then you're just doing push-ups and push-ups and push-ups. And you're like, can I stop? And they're like, don't stop, because you'll just keep going. Or you make a mistake and the whole platoon, everybody in the platoon has to be punished because of your mistake. So you're like, I don't want to make any mistakes, because now all these people are going to have to pay for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
My wife, originally when my kids were smaller, she would get mad because, like, let's say Braxton did something. Well, then both boys would get punished.
Yeah.
And if Tristan did something and Braxton knew that Tristan was doing it, or Braxton didn't like help him or like, hey, knock that shit off, then both boys would be punished, because it's like, well, you guys are in charge of each other.
Yeah.
You guys need to help each other. Yeah. That's something I learned in the military. And my wife would be like, hey, you're not a drill sergeant. These kids are not in the military. And I'd be like, well, it worked for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it works for people. That it works instantly when you are being punished, or your friends are being punished for shit that you did, or you're, you know, like, let's say somebody did something and now I'm being punished, and I'm like, hey man, knock it off. Clean yourself, because, you know, people come in with like really bad hygiene habits.
Yeah.
And there was some gross stuff that people would do.
Sure.
You know? But it's for 8 weeks, and as soon as you are there. It's like 2 weeks of them like trying to reprogram your brain, but everything is a routine. You wake up at the same time to Reveille and you do workouts and then you start about your day, but everything is built in a routine.
Right.
When you eat, everybody sits down at the table. You put your hands and I'm putting my hands flat on the table. Everybody sits down until the last person sits down. You put your hands on the table. And then when the last person sits down, then you start eating.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, if I was done and you're not, I put my hands on the table till you're done. And then we all stand up together. We clean our plates together and then if you left and you did something wrong, then the drill sergeants would come over and just start tuning you up because you were doing it. And so you did everything has a purpose, right? By the time you're done, you're like a robot at that point.
Yeah.
You know, and I was lucky. My drill instructor was awesome. He was really cool. And he would be like, hey, this is just the first couple of weeks. You guys are going to get better. Yeah. You guys you are going to get better. Yeah. And then he would rip you a new asshole and you'd be like, man, I thought you'd be get better. And so, so that was a good thing for me because now, even to this day, when I get a little bit off my routine, I'm able to like just go right back to it. Yeah. You know, and so like it's already in my brain. Yeah. So I try to instill that in the boys. I really try to instill that in boys. Misty, creature of habit, and she's OCD about a lot of things. So there's times when she's doing something and I'm like, man, that's just part of her routine. Yeah. And she has to do it. And she has to make sure, that it's done that way or she'll get all crazy about it.
I mean, I think it's totally fascinating because it's like, you are meant to be on your mission. You're meant to wake up at 6 o'clock. You're meant to study. You're meant to do this. And like, it really all comes down to self-discipline, right? Because the touting of blessings, right? The blessings, right? Like that, to me, there was no transitive property. I couldn't equate the blessing to like me actually waking up. Oh, sure. The blessing to me was like, actually, I feel rested. I slept in and I feel rested. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't equate to the fact that like, had I had more self-discipline, sure, I would have learned the routine process better. So now waking up at 6 o'clock in my 40s would be a lot easier. And maybe I'd be waking up at 5 o'clock or 4:30 as, some of those crazy people do, those gym rats do. But like, I couldn't see the transitive property of hey, if I do this, then I get this blessing, right? Sure. Because of the religious undertone, it didn't equate. It didn't equate for me. It didn't equate for me. Like,
that's interesting you say that. I like the way that you say that because now thinking about, as you're saying that, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is a good way for me to approach tomorrow when I wake up, as opposed to getting on my phone right away, waking up and like adjusting a couple of things because it is a blessing. Like there are blessings that you can get from doing something a little different that you're not happy about. Right. Like changing part of your routine, changing part of your life. There are blessings from that. Yeah. Right. And you can look at it that way and you can say, hey, this is a good thing that I'm doing. Right. Or you can continue to do the same shitty thing and be like, well, I'm not changing anything.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, like, hey, if you want to sleep in and that's your shtick, like nobody's here to tell you what to do. Right. Like, I think the underlying principle here is one, you're going to hit obstacles. You're always going to hit obstacles in your routine, whether it's, a sickness, whether it's your training and you're failing to progress. You're always going to hit those things, right? So be compassionate with yourself. Do you. But if you want to get better, you have to look at the outside extraordinary things you need to do to become better.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool. What about like so now we've talked about like we've talked about morning, we talked about mid afternoon, we talked about the day kind of, but do you have a nightly routine?
My night routine, oh man, not so much. My biggest thing is not be on my phone. I'm trying really hard not, because I do find that I've got caught in the habit of doom scrolling. Okay. Right? Like I will just be like, oh, all of a sudden it's like 20 minutes have gone by and I'm on TikTok and I'm like, wait, how did I get on TikTok? And why do I care what,
this person is doing?
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely do. I've been really trying to kick in like the skincare. Calder Labs, shout out if you want to sponsor the show, and wash my face with that.
It looks good.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great stuff. So around like really just personal care, wash my face, brush, floss my teeth, do that kind of stuff, and then really, I do like the idea of like listening to a meditation, trying to reprogram some of my thinking in that like posts like as you fall asleep.
Yeah.
I've got a membership to Insight Timer.
Oh.
Which just has a bunch of different meditations and different things like that. So I've been listening to the same one for about 45 days straight.
Oh.
It's super interesting. I don't know if it's working.
That's cool.
But like I do, like I put on my little sleep mask and I'll listen to it, and then like I will have fallen asleep. Most of the time I will fall asleep before it's over.
Some of that time. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I currently, since January 1st, I've been doing 50 calisthenics, 50.
Oh, yeah.
So I do 50 push-ups, 50 squats, 50 split-legged squats, and then I do a 50-second plank.
Oh, cool.
And I've been doing it every night, and I feel good about it. I also lay on an acupuncture bed.
Oh, yeah.
I lay on that for, I fall asleep in it. And so I may have been 2 hours.
It's a torture device.
Yeah. When I first lay on it, I'm like, oh, this is miserable, right?
Yeah.
But I do believe, as we kind of like close this down of like routines, developing a routine in the morning, developing a routine in the afternoon, and then just not like forcing your people around you to do your routine, but encouraging them to develop some sort of routine, and then holding them accountable with things that you expect of them, right? If you expect your children to do the dishes, one person to do the dishes, it's a routine. Now I expect you to do that.
Yep.
If you need to wake up if you have to get yourself up for school, stay up as late as you want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But you get your butt up at school, and I better not have to come wake you up, because then I'm going to make adjustments to you.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Now with your significant others, with your wife or husbands, just remember, like, your routine is your routine. Don't expect them to do the same thing or have the same, like, just be kind to them and remember, like, there's no booklet for how life is supposed to go. Having hard times, having rough times in life is not fun for anybody. Like, when if everybody's sick in the house and all of a sudden you're pissed at each other and who's doing the dishes tonight or who's cooking tonight, and you're like, well, it's my turn, or the routine is thrown off.
Can I this is just a random, like, out of left field question. Who wakes up earlier in your household? Who earliest?
Me. Well, no, Misty. Sorry, Misty.
Misty
teaches very early.
So here's my question. When she wakes up early, and you don't have to throw her under the bus, does she wake everybody else up in the process, or does she kind of just go about and get herself ready? Can she do it with limited disruption to everybody else?
I think, like, no matter what, I wake up when she wakes up, because she does hit the snooze every once in a while.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she's very quiet when she can. I know if she's not being quiet, it's probably because the night before I wasn't quiet when I got into bed. And so she's like, fuck it, I don't care. We're going to work each other up. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, okay.
But what's interesting about that is that when she wakes up, she has her own routine. I know that there's certain things that she does that I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. She does it every morning, every morning. And she gets up at 4:30 a lot of mornings. Dang. I know.
Good for her.
It's impressive.
Yeah, interesting. I find that fascinating. I had a very different dynamic.
You did?
I was the one I would generally wake up earlier, and I was always very conscious as to, let my partner sleep in.
Sure.
She liked to sleep in, and she had a much later routine than me. And so I would go about doing my thing. I would limited lights if I needed to have some lights on. I'd do what I needed to do with limited light, and I was fine with it. Like, I didn't allowing her the comfort of sleeping in was like, I thought I was doing something nice. Complete opposite. If there were ever the off chance that my partner had to leave earlier than me. It was like everybody was waking.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. Yes, I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think like that's part of that of like just being like forgiving sometimes of like little things. But I think that would probably piss me off. I think I would probably be a little bit like, hey, let's be quiet. You know, let's not do that kind of a thing to each other. Because if not, then I'm gonna, I'll figure out a way to wake you up too.
Right.
Right. Cool, man. I appreciate this topic. So, a couple of big things. Park City Jiu-Jitsu just announced that they are doing their summer camp.
Oh, yes.
So dates are out.
Nice.
On the next podcast, I'll kind of do a little bit more of an ad for that.
I think on the next podcast, we take this on the road.
Oh.
Because you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to be in Florida.
We are.
Yeah.
Florida. This is going to be so sick.
Florida. So we're going to record in Florida, I think.
Yeah, let's try it.
Let's try to record in Florida, and
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah,
so we have Florida coming up. So we have our camp going. We're leaving to Florida in a week and a half, I think, maybe just over 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks we leave. And then, so that was just announced today. Mona and I had been kind of working on it in the shadows, mainly Mona, and man, she's awesome when she puts that, she puts that to her mind. It's going to be at the same place. It's going to be at the new park in Park City. I don't have the dates. The dates are out. I'll do a little bit better of a job giving an ad for that and putting that up on our website. We have open mat stuff. We have a bunch of training going on, and it's the first of the year. I'd encourage everybody. My goal this year is to get 20 new people into the academy somehow or another. 20 new white belts. Try to figure out a way to encourage them to stay. If I can get 20 and keep 10, I think that's a pretty good number, Yeah. Right now I'm trying to hit it pretty hard, talking to people and trying to sell, getting people in there and helping them with their journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just their website's up today. I put
just breathe or what
so I did change the name. It's called High Life Breathing.
Oh, nice.
High Life Breathing is up and taking clients, hopefully going to help people in their journey and to give them.
You will be helping people on their journey.
I hope
Absolutely.
So.
I think breath work is one of the most, that we talk about all these nationalistic bonds, but we never talk about how breath connects us as a species. And if we could all just have the bond of breath, like maybe we'd be happier and nicer to each other. And
that's the goal.
Aggro.
Yeah.
So you will be helping.
I hope so. How about you? What do you got going on besides the camps and all that stuff?
Man, I got a little bit of travel. I'm going to head down to St. George. I'm hoping to do some training in St. George next week. I'll be in the gym, likely Lehigh Saturday.
Oh, cool.
I think I'm going to try to hit Sunday before I head down to St. George as well.
Sick.
Just because I'm finally feeling like I got over this, and I need a little kick. So. I'm going to try to train at least once in St. George. I got a big corporate meeting, so I'm hoping I can.
This is for the new job.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can sneak away for one night, and it's a space theme. They're doing a space theme, and
cool.
There's a dress up day.
Oh,
I think I might rock the orange gi to the dress up day.
Dude, the orange gi is sick.
Yeah, I got a NASA Sanibel gi for those of you who are in the jits. I think I might rock that to this corporate meeting.
That sucker is a bright light.
Leg lock the CEO.
Nice. What a man! Cool. I'm excited for you. Yeah. I'm stoked for you to see how this journey goes, and hopefully we wrap up these last little things that we needed to do to make our big announcement that we have coming up. I think we're getting close.
We're so close. I can taste it.
Yeah, I think we're close, and I hope that we keep our listeners on the edge of their seats of what we have going on. Yeah. So you can look up for. Tyler at Lost Boy Scouts.
Lost Boy Scouts.
For myself, it's highlifebreathing.com. It's on my Instagram. And Tyler's so grateful. I'd really like to thank you. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for encouraging me and really being somebody that I can look to and not discourage anything that I bring to you. Because I put a lot of pressure of asking you a lot of things. So I'm super grateful for you, and thank you so much for what you do for me.
So stoked to be on this journey with you. And again, the feeling's mutual. We need other men to kind of help push us, right?
Yeah.
We can be stagnant. Anybody can be stagnant. Anybody can be the hermit on the hill. If that's what you want to do, I mean, I'm honored, but I think most men don't realize that we need other men to kind of keep our heads straight, keep each other straight, and we become better men when we surround ourselves with good men. Yeah, show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes.
So
and
sick.
Danny, we'll keep at it. And thank you all for tuning in, and catch you on the next episode.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
See ya.
Rise up, no turning back.